Hi, how do I get into teaching? So it had been many years I'm teaching, probably more than 10 years, and I start by chance. First of all, once I was a musician, I was teaching music, like from instrument till theory, like drums, guitar, and history, etc. Then, happens that I went to live in Russia, and I was interested in traveling and looking for new places, new culture, and I ended up very random, like in Russian, and I was looking for some jobs, and I was lucky because in one school they need like an English teacher, and so they got me for a primary school, and I started to teach there. Then I started to work for other private language school, and that was very good experience because they give me like a very good idea and knowledge how to start to teach, how to involve people, and above all to not be shy. So then, like step by step, I started to get involved more and more in teaching, and became like really my passion. I really love my job, and so I got like a bachelor degree in languages, then a master degree again in languages, but more for communication purposes, until recently when I got like a PhD in online languages education. That's where I end up to work also with Lingua. That I think, if I remember well, is like about 4 or 5 years that I work together with Lingua. First, because I think is a great institute. Lingua is a great school, and for one reason, because teachers they have like a lot of freedom to prepare their own materials, to also suggest new ideas how to improve the learning experience and the classes. And of course, like because I love online, I think online personally can give me a lot of freedom, and I don't have to deal with traffic in the street. I don't have to deal to set my alarm to wake up like 1,000 hours before to go to the school, etc. So I think I work in a less stressy way, or no stress at all. So it's like way better. I love stay at home and work with my students. And then also because I think most of the people have a wrong idea about online teaching and learning. They think it's easier, and so that means cheaper, they should pay less. But I think it's exactly completely the opposite according to my experience and my academic knowledge. So I think learning online is way better, because first most of the online classes are one-to-one. So you really have like a full, for example, 60 minutes class only for that student. And second, because there is no time wasted. You really focus. Sometimes it can be very difficult, intense, but for sure it is overall useful. You optimize a lot of your time, and you can learn very well, in our case, languages. I think my students are pretty happy with that. And sometimes we have a chat and they compare like some of the pro and con with that. Probably the con is like there is not like we can never see physically, but then like when you use the webcam, when you see the voice, with some students I think like we became like also friends, because I'm working with Lingua. I work with other several places. I also right now I live in China, where I'm an academic in one of the top university in China, where I still teaching languages. And for me, it's important to create this kind of empathetic and link with my student. Other questions? So, which part I'm proudest about my job? It's believe me or not, it's really for me like it make my day when a student, maybe a hard one, maybe that is like sometimes it take a bit time to understand something. At the end, told me, "Thank you, Matteo. I really understand this one. It's very great." And for me, it's like I'm super happy because, as I said before, I really love my job. So for me, it's really important that all my students are happy, satisfied, and they do understand. I really want them, how long they will take the class with me. Can be 1 month, can be 1 year, can be forever. But I want like sooner or later, or at the end of their path, they really think, "Oh, great, this teacher is great. I really understand everything." Doesn't mean that like having classes with me is easy or is fun. Probably yes, it's fun, interactive, but serious. So I teach very serious. And That's why probably I have also some students that are with me like from ages, and they keep contacting me also because it's like it's my specialization. So I think I'm one of the few teachers that I really know what means teaching online. There are too many improvised teachers because they think, okay, I'm a teacher in real life, I can teach online. No, not at all. It doesn't work like that. And about new students, how I can help them. When I write new student, first of all, I can kind of assess them. So I will ask you, like, first of all, what is their level of language? Most of the time they're like a true beginner. And second one is what they need, why they are studying this language. That sounds like a silly question, but it's very important because everybody has a different way of learning, different like purpose of that. There are, like, in my experience, there are people that are studying for business purpose. Maybe they want to make like some trading or open some company in Italy. So that can be a particular, is like targeting in that direction. Or people for love. They have a husband, they have a wife, they have like a relative, their parents, they're like Italian, especially maybe Italo-American. So maybe they lost a bit their roots and they find it's time like to reconnect with their background. So that is like, it's full of passion, they're learning, and is different way. And then there are like people also for studying purpose. I have like some university students that they need to know maybe structure of some exam, they don't know very well Italian, they don't feel confident. So different way. One, I know what is their purpose, I can say how deliver class to them. Usually it takes me 3 classes to completely profile my students, to understand which kind of student is, which is like his weak point, strong point, how is their level of concentration, if maybe every 10 minutes you need to change activity, or they can keep it longer, and important, very important, what is their interest in, what is their hobbies, especially for not beginner, maybe for intermediate, when we start to have like conversational class, it's really important to understand what they like in life. Because if I give my topics, and for example, I love yoga, but not everybody loves yoga. I can't say to them, okay, today we talk about yoga. No, it's really important that I know what they like in order to build up a conversation according to their interest, not mine. Teacher always comes second. So first is the student. The most challenging part of learning Italian, there are many parts, to be honest. I think it depends which is my student's mother language. So for example, probably for English native speaker, learning Italian is a nightmare when we have to face verbs, because we have to conjugate verbs. Like for example, in English you usually accept the third person singular, so he, she and it. All the other verbs except the irregular one, they look the same. If you think about I go, you go, they go, we go, is always go. In Italian, that go, it keeps changing all the time. And that can be a challenge. It needs a while before like people that get used with this stuff. And other things can be pronounced. So what's in English is, for example, I give him, I give her, them. This one is probably the most difficult Italian grammar part. How they can overcome this? For sure, constant and practice. What I usually teach is, we teach first the grammar in a very oversimplified way, because not everybody gets used with grammar terms. So for example, not everybody knows what adjective means, or what is a verb, etc. But I try to be like as simple as I can, make some real example that they can use in their daily life. As I say, like from day first, they should use immediately their target language, my student. So then I compare with their mother language. Like most of the time I like so far, I speak like several languages, so I can have an idea how to compare with their mother tongue so far. Maybe sometimes will happen to somebody that's, I don't know their language. And afterward, we do like plenty of exercises together. If the students have time, I will also like give some homework between classes. And let's see, like an average of maybe 3-4 months, that topic is at least the basic is understood. What I like teaching in Skype, I think the simplicity. So nowadays there are like many software where you can teach in, where you communicate online, but probably Skype was one of the first. I think now it can be more than 15 years that Skype exists, and I think still the simple one. The other one, maybe there is a problem on downloading, maybe there's a problem with setting, maybe there is some function that at the beginning you think, oh amazing, there is this function you will never use in your life. So what I say all the time to all my students, online student and physical student in classes, like, look for simplicity. That doesn't mean that something cheap or lazy, but it means like should be a software, a tool that's sort out your class. You don't want to feel frustrated, you don't want to feel bored, annoyed, and I think Skype have this. Nowadays I think Skype have a lot of function, and honestly I don't use all the function because, as I say, like my philosophy is like to keep it simple but efficient. So probably I use a lot of course the voice. Sometimes to improve the listening experience of my student, I switch off the webcam. I say, please focus on your ear, on my voice. That is good to practice the listen activity. And then we do maybe reading and writing using the chat box, the Skype chat box. And then of course we can send file, and in the last year we can also possibility to share the screen. That sometimes there is like some grammar or exercise that is better just to visualize together, because many students are visual learners. If they see, they can understand quickly the stuff. So I think Skype is a great tool overall for that. If I have to say one word, just because it's simple and efficient. And I'm sorry, I will stop to use my hands, but I'm Italian, so I use a lot of my hands. I try to control myself. So new video on YouTube. Unfortunately, last month I'm not so active in YouTube because I live in China, so there is some restriction with internet. But what I was planning is to create some mini series in YouTube related also to culture, so to explain some cultural points or cultural differences between Italy and other countries, and then focus on some dialect and accent. And then what about the last question about where I live to work? Oh, I lived in many places. Actually, it's many years. I don't live anymore in Italy, even if I'm full Italian. But as I say, I live in China now. I used to live in US, in Mexico, in Mali, Switzerland, UK, what else? Australia, and I think that's it. And Russia, of course, and Russia. So many places that I think it's really important. Beside my personal interest in different culture, it was nowadays I realized was really important for my job, for my teaching, because I have a really wide range of experience. I taught, I have been teaching very different students, different age, different levels, different countries, different kind of school, institute, online class. So that's it's amazing. It gave me a very big opportunity to learn a lot, to empower and improve my knowledge on a regular basis. Ciao a tutti. Ciao ciao.